Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of On Deck here on FTSN. I'm Russ Morgan. Took a couple weeks off for Christmas. Went home to California, uh, and obviously Christmas Eve was the 24th, and last week I just had a had a long flight, so a lot of delays. Didn't get home to 1:30, so I was a little tired, but uh, ready to get back into some baseball talk. Here January 7th. So baseball right around the corner. Pitchers and catchers report here in February. So baseball is right around the corner. Spring training. We got the World Baseball Classic, 1st of March. So baseball is right here. Depending where you are, World Baseball Classic. If you're in Houston, I think it's Houston. I think it's Houston or Arlington. I think it's Houston. Uh, USA's in Houston. You're in the Miami area. I'm in the Tampa area. They're in Miami. They're actually playing in Miami semifinals and finals. So and quarterfinals. So everything will be there. So there's some baseball. There's some spring training. I know here we got a couple of the national teams coming out to Florida. I think Columbia is coming here to play the Pirates. So I'm going to try to check that out. But it's definitely been a slow moving off season. I think we just had a big splash right now. I think the impending lockout has slowed some stuff down. We seen some big deals, but the big guys we thought we'd see with the Kyle Tuckers who hasn't signed with the Bo Bichettes. Kyle Tucker looking for a big deal, but we'll get into Kyle Tucker in a little bit. We did have a big trade earlier with Edward Cabrera, who's been on the market, who's been in a lot of trade news this year. Yankees, Cubs. Yankees were reported to have some interest, but it was reported that they never really got close to any type of deal. But the Cubs traded for Edward Cabrera from the Marlins for 3 prospects. The Marlins did get two top prospects. They did get the Cubs' number 1 overall prospect, Owen Cassey, and the other was their 16th overall prospect, Christian Hernandez, shortstop, second baseman. Cassey was an outfielder. But I mean, I think the Cubs they're getting a pitcher who's coming off probably one of his best years. Cabrera did throw 137 innings, so through as most innings he's thrown in his professional career. 8-7, 3.53 ERA, 150 Ks. Definitely a very productive year coming off the best year. Did have, his 23 and 24 season had a 4+ ERA. Definitely, he had some great games. He shut us down, shut the Yankees. I'm a Yankees fan. If you didn't know, if you first time tuning in, I'm really about it. I'm talking about the Cubs, but I'm gonna get about it. Miami Sports 72. I like it. On the Cabrera side, I think it's a win-win for both the Cubs and the Marlins. I mean, on their side, on the Cubs side, you're adding the rotation with Minago with Cade Horton, who was great when he was healthy his rookie year. You add him to Matthew Boyd. Who had probably his best year of his professional career as a starter. So he's going to slot nice into that 2-3 rotation where the Cubs really need it. On the Marlins side, I like the deal too. I really think I think the average fan might not like the deal. Who's not following the prospects as much because of what you might get this is the same old Marlins. We're just trying to ship off our good players and get prospects. No, I mean you gotta realize. I mean, I like we got one Marlins fan in there. I know some other baseball people who like to deal with the Marlins fans, if there's anyone out there, what they think of the deal. Because I mean, we all know. I know we got some Marlins fans on the network that the '97 they won it all. They stripped it down. 2003 they won it all. They stripped it down. This isn't the same old Marlins. You got to realize they have a plethora of pitching. I mean, you're going to get Braxton Garrett back. Anthony. I really like the deal. I mean, I don't think you're going to get. I mean, I think getting. Well, first off, for the Marlins, I'm gonna get the Anthony. I think that's not the same old Marlins. I really like the deal. I think you got a plethora of pitching prospects. You're gonna get Max Mayer back. You're gonna get Braxton Garrett back. You have Thomas White, who's ETA's 2026. You have Robbie Snelling, who you got from the Orioles, who's 2026. So you're gonna have a plethora of pitching. You got it, and I like what the Marlins do. They're capitalizing on a guy who had his best year of his career in major leagues. He's 28. He's got 2 years of control. So you capitalize. Owen Casey or Cassie, however you say his last name, from top prospect there. I think we've seen in the past, and you've seen with the Marlins, guys like Kyle Stowers. He was backlogged. I think that's correct. I think with the Cassie thing is, you saw with what Peter Benix, I think what he did with the Stowers deal is you pick up Stowers. He was definitely not getting his time. Could not get time in Baltimore because you had backlog. Baltimore's competing. You bring him over to the Marlins. This guy's an all-star. He's going to be the face of your franchise for years to come. Same thing with Owen Cassie. He couldn't. I mean, the Cubs are perennial, right there in the NL Central every year, especially last year, right there competing for the NL with the Dodgers. You can't really go through the ebbs and flows of a younger player trying to break through it. So with Cassie, after a while, you just need these young guys to get ABs and break through their slumps. He batted 192. I really like the deal. I think it. I think you're gonna get some slumps. You just gotta fight through it with Cassie. Slotsmore is a right fielder, but this guy's 6'3", power left-handed bat, got some serious pop. Will be a right fielder, so you move Stowers to left. We don't. I don't say we. I'm not a Marlins fan. You don't know what you're going to get back from Griffin Conine when he comes back. Would they move him to first base? I don't know. But you don't know what you're going to get back when he comes back from injury. You don't know what he's going to look like. You added Christian Morel. If I was the Marlins, I think the one hole the Marlins is first base. I don't know if you're going to trust Christopher Morel or a Griffin Conine at first base. I could definitely see Max Mayer moving to the back end of the rotation. That guy was, he was a closer in college at University of Minnesota. So I could see that. Or more. Just setting up. They're going to trade Sandy in a couple weeks. I have not heard anything about Alcantara, Sandy Alcantara yet. I think I like what the Marlins are doing. You added. It looks like they're starting. Yes, they're still maybe a year away from really competing, but they have the pieces in place. You got to if these young guys work out, you got the pieces in place. I mean, you added Fairbanks, who's a great bullpen piece to add to the bullpen. I think you're going to have to deal with Owen Cassie's slumps, which will happen because he's a very young player, but he's going to break through it. You have Kyle Stowers, who's one of the better outfielders in baseball right now, and definitely an all-star. We'll see what Jacob Marcy does. Can he continue off his great rookie year? But I think first base as a whole, we'll see what Joe Mack does if they bring him up. I think, in my opinion, Augustus Ramirez is more of a DH than a catcher. He's not the best defensive catcher. He's got a great bat. I have not heard anything about Sandy Alcantara. There has been news the Yankees have been linked to him, but there hasn't been any movement. I think they might just, in my opinion, I think they just ride. I mean, you've got him under control. You got him $27 million. We'll see what the Marlins are at the deadline. Are they willing to ship him at the deadline? Because if he comes back strong in the first half, could you capitalize on that? But I think they've jump started. If we saw what we saw last year, they jump started a little of their timeline. I mean, they only were out of the last wild card spot by 4 games, so they jump started it. I like the Cabrera trade just because best year, you're capitalizing on his best year. I mean, this guy was a 4+ ERA is the last 2 years and still last year. He's 28, 2 years of control. So you get the number 1 overall prospect for the Cubs, who was blocked with the Cubs. So I like the deal. I don't see a Sandy Alcantara trade imminent. I think Anthony and anybody who's everybody who's in there, really slow moving off season. But I really do like that deal. I think any Marlins fans out there, they should be happy with the return that they got for this deal, because you got a really good young player who fits into the timeline of the Marlins. That I mean, at one point I did really, when I was a younger kid, I really did not like the Marlins because of what happened in 2003. Being a Yankees fan, I got no problem with the Marlins anymore. That was just me being I was 12. But I really like the young guys they've got. I mean, I'm looking at some of these prospects that Marlins got. Ivar Arquette, you got him at 28. I could see this guy moving up quick. I mean, I could see Joe Mack up this year as a starting catcher, at least splitting with Ramirez. Noble Mayer is another one to look out. They've got a lot of young. I think if you look at, they've got a lot of pitching. So that's why they were ability to make this deal, and they cashed in on it. I really, really like this deal. I don't think the Marlins fans out there, it's not the same old Marlins. You're not tearing it down. You're just capitalizing on a guy's best year. So I like the deal. It fits in with your own core. Then we had we did have a couple moves. Tayutsi Imai size was the Astros. It was a $60 million deal, so not as much as expected. He signed a day before his posting, so was it January 2nd at 5 p.m. Eastern was his last day to sign, and then the Blue Jays signed first baseman, third baseman Kazuma Okamoto, 4 years for $60 million deal. Batted .280 this past year. His strikeout rate, which I think I'm getting really pissed as a diehard Yankees fan. It's really flipped. Blue Jays are looking like the big market team. The Yankees are looking like a really small market team. Like, what the hell, Brian Cashman? Spend some freaking money. And if you've tuned in before, what did I say being a Yankees fan was my biggest fear? Not because I didn't like the player. I thought he had a great year. Was giving Trent, and I saw Michael Kay, and I said it before, and I agree with him, and I said it. I don't know when he said it, but I've said it before in the regular season. My biggest fear for the Yankees was them to give a qualifying offer to Trent Grisham, and he accepts it. They gave him a qualifying offer, trying to get a draft pick. That draft pick would be a 4th or 5th round. Now they're stuck with. I'm sorry. I'm getting a little frustrated. But Okamoto signs with the Jays. Big thing with that. I'm sorry. I went on a rant. I'm going to get on the Yankees. I got a little frustrated there, but for a second, I forgot we were I'm doing an MLB podcast, and I got to, being a baseball guy and me being a diehard Yankees fan. So I'm talking about the Blue Jays right now. Let's get back into it. I think one thing I've noticed, and if you've noticed with the Blue Jays in the playoffs, is they're very put the bat to ball heavy, low strikeout rate, put the ball in play. Okamoto, from 24 to 25, he had a 16% strikeout rate in 24. He brought that down to 11 in 25, which fits great into what the Blue Jays do, how they play baseball. I mean, this guy's a 6-time All-Star, 278 average. Right now, they got him slotted in a third. Right now, they would have Ernie Clement moved to second. What does this mean for Bo Bichette? I think Bo Bichette, him coming back to Toronto is increasingly unlikely. I think that deal. I think they shelled out a lot for Dylan Cease. I think it's becoming increasingly unlikely, even though they've said the Jays would like Okamoto to be a super utility guy, play some first, play some third, could play some outfield if he needs it. But I think the Bichette has become increasingly unlikely. They've been reported they're ramping up the efforts on Kyle Tucker. The Kyle Tucker market's been very slow. I mean, he was at one time looking $400 million. Now it's feeling like $300 million. Is $300 million out there? I think, especially with the Tucker, you got the Tuckers and the Bellingers out there. The looming of not having 2027 is hurting some of these guys, because 98% they're going into a lockout is what I'm saying. Hopefully they don't, because if you saw the viewership, the numbers they got in the World Series and during the postseason was through the roof. So baseball's at an all-time high. It's starting to get back where it should be. So I'm really hoping they don't, but I think they are going to go into a lockout. I think, in my opinion, Blue Jays are ramping it up. I think Kyle Tucker, that's his best option. I think that's the number one spot he should go with. That would fit perfectly in there. They could slot him into left field. You could put Lucas on the bench. I think he's a good bench piece. I don't think he's a starting, everyday starting left fielder. You have Anthony Santander. When he comes back healthy, can be there. They're also getting a lot of money off the books next year when you lose Springer, who is starting to slow down, great player, but starting to show his age a little more. Can only DH now. But it also could be interesting for the Blue Jays because, Barger had an unbelievable postseason. But they are ramping that up with Kyle Tucker. I see a shorter-term deal. Maybe you give him a long-term deal, but with an opt-out. Maybe you give him that $400 million deal with an opt-out. But I see that a shorter-term deal. Maybe it goes for like a Bregman type of deal, where he has an opt-out at the end of the year because that looming lockout. What did you grade the Marlins draft? Well, as a whole, We'll get into that. No clue because I did not focus on the whole Marlins draft. As their top, I think, I can't remember. I think they got, and if I'm wrong, they've got, Arquette was an A. I really like what they got. Their first, Canarella from Clemson. Really like them. And then you add Brandon Compton, who could be another guy. So if we're going off their first three picks, because I did not follow the whole Marlins draft, I give them an A plus. Arquette, if you watch college baseball, that guy's a dude, and he can play short great, but he can also slot into third base. I think Canarella, coming from Clemson, that guy is a great defensive center fielder. So I will not say, Anthony, I did not follow the Marlins whole draft, but I would say the top first three picks they got was an A plus. I loved what they did. I think they got it the way the board fell for them when they got Arquette from Oregon State was I loved it. I was on with AJ from East 10th Street Boys. He was on our draft show. He popped on like 10 minutes before. I was like, if this guy falls to 6 where they were, that's who you want. That's who you want. I've seen him play short. Everybody says they don't think I see a short. I see a third baseman. Everybody says it. They don't think it. I think he can stay at short. It's just when his timeline is. But I definitely could see a third baseman. He's a 6'5" frame. What is he? Arquette, 6'5", 220. The guy bat to ball skills is great. I will say I give him an A plus. AJ from East 10th Street Boys came on and he was on. I was like, dude, this is who you want, because we were talking other names, and I did not think he would make it to 6. He made it to 6. It was a home run. That pick was a home run. I could see a 27 for him. I could see him moving through the system quick because he's a college player. If you've noticed anything about the way baseball is, these college guys are making it through the system quick. That's why we're seeing more college guys get up to the MLB quicker and more college guys get drafted, because they can make it quicker. Their timeline's a lot quicker than an 18-year-old high school senior. I could see a 27. They're going a 28 for him. But I think the two picks, Canarella and Compton, really solid picks. The Arquette landing at 6 was an A. I would say those first three picks for the Marlins was an A plus. Moving to my Yankees, and I'll rant. I'm getting mad. I said earlier, my biggest fear was Trent Grisham re-signing, taking the qualifying offer. Good for him. 22. He got 22 million. I don't think he would have got 22 million on there. So, for him, great for him because I don't see him getting 22 million. So he takes it 1 year. There might not be baseball next year. But now it hamstrings the Yankees. George Steinbrenner's probably dizzy. George Steinbrenner probably dizzy in his grave right now. The amount of times he's rolled around by the if George is still alive, they're signing everything. Brandon and Cam need more development, but I think I agree with you. Move through the system a lot quicker. I think he flies through the system. If you watched him at Oregon State, this guy's just a lot quicker. I think where the weakness of the Marlins is more their infield depth. They've got a lot of outfield depth that they could develop these guys a little more. I think defensively, Camarella could be fine. I think offensively he needs a little more. Same thing with Compton. Ivar Arquette, he needs a full year under his belt. I don't see 28. But Yankees right now, they're in talks with Bellinger. But the reason the Yankees aren't, uh, you know, is because of Grisham. The reason they're not willing to sign, they want to bring down their payroll. They want to get under 304 million or 310. And I think the Grisham hamstrung him. You gave him the qualifying offer. Not I think Grisham had a phenomenal year, but you gave him the qualifying offer thinking you'd get a draft pick. The draft pick wasn't going to be in the first or second round. The draft pick was going to be in the fourth or fifth effing round. So you're paying a guy $22 million for a fourth or fifth round pick? Really? Come on, you're killing me, Hal. So you got Bellinger, unbelievable, great defensive left fielder. You can put him in center fielder. You can put him in center field. You can play first. But I mean, there's been reports they've made 2 offers. There's no numbers out there. I think the Yankees want to stay in the 150, 160 range, 5 years. If you get a team in there with 6 years, it's going to push them out of the Bellinger sweepstakes. They don't want to go over 5 years. I mean, but what the hell are we doing? All these small deals. I mean, you miss out on Imai. You need another pitcher. Rodon's going to be out till June. Cole's going to be out till June, maybe May. You need to add bullpen pieces. You lose Luke Weaver. You lose Devin Williams, who didn't have the best year, but he's still, you lose a piece. They both struggled. You don't know what you're going to get from Cameron Duvall. I mean, you got David Bendar, who looked great. But you need to add. I mean, they got to get Bellinger. If you have to put the AAV up, if you got to get him more year, if you want to stay in that 5, you got to sign Bellinger. You got to sign Bellinger was a key piece for the Yankees making the playoffs. But it's also what do they want to do with Spencer Jones, Jason Dominguez? They were supposedly in on Edward Cabrera, and they're throwing some names out there. I actually like that. Ben Hess was one. I was happy, but I'm like, I think the problem with the Yankees is they love, and it's the problem. It's not just the Yankees. There's a lot of teams. They do so much work. They fall in love with them. The Yankees have fell in love with their prospects. The year Garrett Cole got traded to the Astros, they wanted Miguel Andujar. Well, Miguel Andujar really had a great rookie year and really fell off. Now he's a super utility guy and solid a free agent, but he wasn't as great as he was. They held on to Oswald Peraza very long, and he's got no place to play, and it didn't work out. They fall in love with these guys. So, I mean, Spencer Jones, Jason Dominguez. Jason Dominguez was one name I was thinking they could ship to the Marlins for Cabrera. Maybe they send him for Alcantara. I don't know. I think it's the other thing with are you going to keep Jones in AAA? Can you afford to give Jason Dominguez at bats? I don't know. They got to sign Bellinger. They've been on Bichette. The one name I've seen with the Yankees is Nico Horner. I love Nico Horner. I've wanted him for 2 years. I like Jazz Chisholm. They need another righty bat. I want Nico Horner's defensive. He's a good right-handed, great defensive second baseman. Good right. They got too many left-handed bats in there. But they number one has got to get Bellinger re-signed. And right now it doesn't seem like much competition. Yankees don't want to bid against themselves. Ranger Suarez still on the market. When healthy with the Phillies was very, very good. I see the O's as front runner. He's one of the top pitching prospects on the market, on the free agent market. What are they going to do after they traded for Shane Baez? And then you got Framber Valdez still on the market. who is probably one of the better pitchers in baseball. They both have draft competition attached to them. But if you remember with Valdez playing the Yankees, his catcher tried to wave him off to step off. He didn't step off because he didn't like the pitch. He gave up a home run to Trent Grisham. So the next time catcher calls a pitch and he crosses his catcher up. Now, he obviously said that was an accident. And, catcher misses it because he thinks something else is coming and hits him. Is that hurting his draft stock because now he doesn't seem like a team guy? I don't know. But I see the Orioles, even though you add Shane Bies, they still need another pitcher. Alex Bregman's still out there. Sorry. Alex Bregman's still out there. I don't know Bregman. I've seen him going back to the Red Sox. I've seen him going back to seen maybe the Tigers, maybe the Cubs jump in, but I haven't seen much on the Bregman movement. But I think the looming of the lockout is really keeping some of these guys down, like the Kyle Tucker, keeping these guys unsigned, and some of their agents want more money than they deserve, than they are worth. I shouldn't say deserve. They deserve. Some of these guys really deserve it. Worth. But I mean, we had some movement. I give a win-win and I like the deal on both sides for the Marlins and the Cubs. Okamoto, the Jays, I really like to wrap things up. What's going to happen with Bo Bichette, the Kyle Tucker market, Bellinger. Hopefully we see something with Bellinger, but it's been slow moving. But I want to thank everybody tuned in. Miami Sports 72, thanks for the comment. Anthony, thanks for the comment. Everybody else who was tuned in to watch me tonight, thank you for tuning in. This was another episode of On Deck here on FTSN. I'm Russ Morgan. I hope everybody has a great night.